Welcome back to another episode of the Coast to Coast Traders Podcast. I'm Robbie.
I'm Flexing Joe.
How's it going, Joe? How you doing today?
I'm doing good, bro. I'm doing all right. How are you doing?
I'm doing pretty good myself, but based on the title of this episode, we got a doozy, don't we?
Yeah, we do. We got a live
Yeah.
studio audience too. For now, until he falls asleep.
But before we get into the not clickbait title of this episode, because this is 100% legit, let's just start with like maybe some little lighter stuff. And I just kind of want to talk about my struggles through the month of April.
Yeah, go for it, man. It was a tough month. It was tough.
Yeah, for sure. And I think for me, it's a combination of not being able to adapt to the volatility as fast as I'd hoped.
Mm-hmm.
Not to say that it was a total disaster, but unfortunately, I wasn't able to secure any payouts in the month. So that might have been weighing on me pretty heavily with regards to possibly forcing some trades and stuff. And I know in the trading community, probably a lot of people are affected. I don't know how many people are public about it, but I know, for instance, Carmine, is it Rosado? But
yeah,
Carmine anyway.
Yep.
I think he posted on YouTube that he had a pretty difficult April, and another trader on X posted. I'm not going to name the name because I'm not positive, so I don't want to say the wrong person. But people are struggling, and so yeah, I'm definitely having some struggles myself. And I'm working on it. I had a couple of days where I did some tilt, and I had some days where I was just pushing buttons, man. And we talk about it. We've talked about it many times that we need to have some way of controlling ourselves. And Joe, do you remember a while back where I joked about like how my memory is like so poor? Like I'll be thinking about something 1 second, and then the next. Like it's gone, or like walk back and forth to a different room.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I actually came across a YouTube video the other day, and I kind of wish I would have saved it, but it was talking about like different like life hack type of stuff, but like not like about things to do, but like about psychology and various stuff.
Okay, hold on though. Because like this funny part about this is that like you're like talking about I walked to another room and then I come back and I forgot what I was saying. Like, did you forget the title of the video, or like can you go find it again? Like that's the fun. That would be the funny part.
No.
If you forgot the video,
it's in my history. Like,
thank God.
I don't usually remember the tape. I don't usually remember the names of the videos because I watch a lot of YouTube.
Yeah.
So I probably could find it, but I didn't necessarily prep that video with regards to us talking about it on the podcast.
Okay.
But I thought it was interesting because one of the things that they mentioned was that there is, I guess, something psychological about how our brain works when we cross the threshold of a door.
Okay. Yeah.
That somehow the context changes of where you are and what you were doing, what you were thinking. So that, when that happens, that could be why you're forgetful from one room to the other.
Yeah, that makes sense. I think I've heard this before.
Yeah, and then so tying it into trading, if I'm ever in the position to recognize that I'm tilting or not trading with a good system or anything like that,
yep,
then I need to have my own circuit breaker to interrupt the process of me spiraling out of control, losing control, and stop that there, kind of like refocus, come back, and then get my act in order, right?
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, so that's something that I need to do because there was a couple of times where I'm taking these trades and I know they're bad trades and I'm writing in my journal, oh, I've lost control, and I'm like, rather than just getting out of the trade, I'm being an idiot, and I'm like, what can I do? I've lost control. Yeah. What am I supposed to do? Like acting like some kind of like person that, like, yeah, I've acknowledged control, but like I have the control to write it down.
Yeah.
But like I at that point deliberately saying, yeah, I've lost control, but I kind of don't care anymore. Is what it translated to.
Yeah.
Yeah. But fortunately, I closed the week out pretty strong and agree on both accounts on Friday. So
good.
Happy about that. Happy about that.
So May is off to a good start, at least.
May is off to a good start. And the market is off. Here we go saying crazy again. But I mean, bro, looking at the monthly count, the monthly candle, the the quarterly candle.
Hmm.
Like, I mean, they're the same at this point, but like, golly, it
Yeah,
looks like maybe the bottom is in. I don't know.
yeah, it's pretty
What do you think?
crazy just how much the volatility like contracted, and we made these highs on the VIX and just like continue to come down. I'm watching on the VIX that there is a daily gap level to close from like where we closed and then we like really jumped up.
Hmm.
I think it was like late in March, I think, when this jump occurred. I can't remember the exact date of the gap. I have it marked. I've had it marked for a while. We've been slowly encroaching on that gap, popping out of it, encroaching lower, popping out of it, and we continue to like
Yeah.
pop less and less as we continue to get down there. So with the volatility contracting, I think it's for scalpers, it's a little bit more difficult to get the moves that you were getting. Had a
Yeah.
conversation with a
Sure.
trader about, is this seriously happening right now? Yo, hey, can we not lick butt right now? This is supposed to be suitable for children. Holy shit! Damn. Wow. Okay. Anyways,
To our
wow.
usually scheduled programming.
Yeah, damn, that's for after hours. Yeah, like I had a conversation with a scalper, just talking to them about, if you've been seeing these moves lately, like in the last few weeks of back testing, that this 40 point, 50 point kind of like pops, like you might want to really just tone it down and look for less, because with the volatility being lower, there's gonna be less. Like the pops are gonna be not as large. We've already been seeing the ATR drop on the NASDAQ. If you look at kind of the rolling ATR continuing to come down. So
Hmm.
yeah, it's very interesting though. Nine positive closes in a row on, I think, QQQ and SPX, right? So
Yep.
9 days of closing higher than the prior day's close. Pretty wild.
Yeah, and I saw a couple of things. There was one that I shared with you, and I forget the name, but it was this cycle. I want to say it sounded like a W, like the Whalen pattern or something. And
You're talking about the
I couldn't find
Zweig
it.
Thrust?
Yeah, that it's probably not called. Was it called Thrust or for
Yeah,
real or no?
yeah. The word
Oh,
thrust
it
is in
was.
it.
Oh, okay, yeah, that's the one. And it was like when you see this pattern, it usually signals a reversal.
Hmm.
And besides that particular one, um, people were recording the VIX over the years,
Hmm.
and pretty much anytime the VIX popped over like 50 to 60 and then came back down under 30,
Hmm.
that also seemed to be signaling a reversal as well.
Hmm.
So two kind of like rarely occurring types of situations back to back. It seems like that could be it, but it's just really hard to say because the tariffs are so unpredictable right now with regards to which nations are going to respond however, and
Yeah.
specifically China and everything. So
Yeah, it's
I don't know.
it's kind of weird because it's like it really makes me wonder at this point how much of this is like baked in, right? Because like if we start seeing deals made with like India, Vietnam, like I'm just bringing up Vietnam because like so much of like clothing and athletic wear and sneakers and stuff is all made there, right? So you have like smaller tickers, but I mean smaller names, but like Lululemon, Nike, etc., Crocs,
Hmm.
all making their stuff there. We have a strong deal with them made. All right, we're good. We have a strong deal with India, right? We know that there's been conversations and we've seen Apple has been moving manufacturing over to India. So,
Yeah.
India reaches this zero tariff deal. What does that do for Apple's production? Then if China finally comes to the table, is all this stuff like priced in to the point of if there's bad news, there's no drop, but if there's good news, there's going to be a bigger pop. Like I don't know. It's still very news driven, and
Yeah.
we are on the pause too. So what's going to happen if we don't have major news as we approach the end of that pause? I don't know.
Yeah, it's tough to say, but it's also giving me a little FOMO because I've been sitting on some cash and I did buy some things on dip earlier, but
Mhm.
like now that we're doing a heavy rally, it's like, wow, did I perhaps really miss the bottom? But I mean, if that's the case, then no worries because I can average up too. But
Sure.
I don't know. We'll see.
Yeah,
Time will
for sure.
tell.
For sure. Yeah. It's going to be very interesting. Obviously, we have, a very interesting Q2 ahead of us. And then summertime, usually volatility and just overall market participation dies down too. So who knows what'll happen? Who knows, right?
Yeah, yeah, for
One
sure.
day, one day at a time in Trump markets.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Um, I got a complaint though about Topstep. Besides your complaint, is minor in comparison.
Yeah.
But
What do you got?
dude, their platform has been really unreliable for me recently.
Yeah.
And the crazy thing is that like I didn't experience anything like this at all during the worst of the volatility.
Yeah.
And so, but now that like when we've been back under 30 VIX, if I just simply change time frames, my chart will stop. Like it'll freeze and it won't update sometimes for 5 to 10 seconds.
Yep. That's
And
that's
then
a real
the
pain.
worst, yeah, but the worst part is I'm actually getting freezing on the chart where it'll be like completely frozen,
Mm-hmm.
and then 4 seconds later it'll give me that message that we've talked about. The markets are now open,
Yep.
and in the past that hasn't affected me because I wasn't in a trade, but there was actually an order that I showed you about, or I had placed a bid,
Yeah.
and unfortunately that was a pretty awful bid anyway. But regardless of whether it was a good or bad one, um, the market like knifed,
Yeah.
and then or it looked like it was in a knife, and then it froze on me,
Yep.
and then
Do you want me to play
it
it?
like it went. Oh, you can, yeah.
Yeah.
Actually, I might be thinking of the wrong situation. I think this one actually knifed through it hard.
It did. This one, yeah, this one knifed through it hard, and you didn't get filled, thankfully. And then it gave you the markets
Okay,
now open.
so
And
there
then,
was a different one where I actually it knifed on me, and I was about to like get rid of my order, and then it came back, and then it filled me afterward. And that one was I should have like cut it right then and there. But this one, luckily, it didn't fill because it
oh,
went down hard.
cut you out. Yeah. I'm trying to think. I'm trying to figure out because you sent it to me in Discord how I can play this. I can't.
Oh, you can add it to as a source in OBS as like a media,
There
and
we
then you
go.
can just click the little thing,
I got it
the
right here.
eyeball. Okay, cool.
Yep. Here we go. So this is it. You want to talk us through right here? This is Robbie right here.
Yeah, this is
Freaking
my morning
awesome.
trade up outfit, guys. I got this really warm like cow hoodie type of situation going, and this like reviewing this trade like this is kind of like a false breakout, but I was not quite in that mindset that we're just very very much range bound today, even though like I have my orbs drawn,
Mm-hmm.
and so I was thinking we're going back
The
to
market is
the
open.
the high, and so I set that bid, and as you can see, like we just dumped like in a big way, and I'm not sure if my reaction was very obvious there, but at
The
least in my
market is
mind, I was
open.
probably doing like a what the f situation or throwing my hands up. I know it's funny because I watched my videos sometimes, and when I have particular reactions, like you'll see my face looking like, what am I doing or whatever. But in this one, it was a really really bad dump, and like I don't know what happened, but Top Step froze. But if you look at my Thinkorswim chart, everything was updating just fine. So I don't know. It's been tough. I'm
The
not gonna
market is
blame
open.
this on my bad performance because 99% of my bad trading is 100 is me. Um, the only thing that I'll blame Top Step for is just maybe making me miss out on some trades because I mentioned that before where like it's frozen and I haven't been able to get the entry that I want, so I have to wait for like the next pullback or whatever. But it's concerning that these types of situations are becoming more and more frequent.
Yep.
And this particular one that has that message the market's disconnected or the market's closed or pre-market, whatever it is, this is happening more and more. Like I feel like it's happening almost every day, if not every other day or something like that.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, you're not the only trader who's talked about it. I've seen other traders talk about it as well. That like, hey, my top step charts are frozen. Hey, it now gave me this markets are open message after it unfroze, and this is like not near a news event, not near the 9:30 a.m. open, like not near the 6 p.m. open, just
Yeah.
random times of the day, and it'll just like glitch, stop, and then when it resumes, the markets are now open message, like, very odd, right?
Yeah.
I know, concerning. And then, it's also like concerning with what we kind of touched on a little bit last week is that like with the whole Project X platform, Michael Patek, the CEO of Topstep, is trying to get other platforms to use the Project X platform, because then, there is the data sharing behind the scenes where, if you, Robbie, are trading with Topstep on Project X, and then you're trading on, let's say, XYZ futures and ABC futures and all these different companies also using the Topstep X, you know, the Project X, the Project X platform on all three of them, all four of them, however many from companies that you want to do business with, you know, they want to set up this sort of, you know, as a means to regulate the space, you know, be able to share all that information on the back end with what you're doing and how you trade and your personal information, etc. And it's like, I can understand, I can see from the one side of it, there are probably traders who go long with one company, short with another company, and then, you know, hey, it works, and they you know, they milk it for a payout, right? But like, the you know, honestly, I don't know how often or how prevalent that is. I don't have the data on that, but by and large, you know, you're really just infringing on somebody's ability to just trade.
Yeah, right.
So
so that's why, you know, you and I are on the same page that, you know, if we're going to have some type of regulation body, it shouldn't be led by the prop firms themselves. It needs to be like a completely independent organization,
right,
with pretty much no input from the prop firms themselves. It's like a people by the people for the people sort of thing that we should be looking for.
Exactly. And that's like, I feel like this is probably the best place to like transition, because, you know, if the, you know, the CEO of Topstep, right, who's the controller of Project X, now has all this data, right, this is going to tie in really well into, you know, the ban conversation, and ultimately Topstep's ability to ban anybody at any time for any reason at their sole discretion, right? So, you know, you may have people who are doing well and they're trading on multiple platforms, and now, you know, they get accused of something and could be wrongfully accused, and now suddenly find themselves in a ban situation, like myself. So let me just back up and just start like my Topstep story really quickly and give you all a rundown. So I was trading Apex pretty heavily last year, and then started working on Topstep a whole lot more. Was doing really well trading Topstep. We've already covered the data on like how many traders got paid out. That was in a different episode. And you know, the top, like whatever it was, like 700 traders who got more than like 50K in payouts or something like that, right? And so like I did extremely well trading Topstep in the back half of the year. Extremely well. At one point in the back half of the year, though, you know, they moved me to live, and this was before they had the rule of only if you have a live account, you can't have any express fundeds, right? So when they moved me to live, right, they kind of, you know, I took half the account as the payout. They moved the rest to the live account, and I was like, okay, great, like that's fine. But I was always trading 50Ks, and it wasn't like they moved a large sum of money to live. I never got a payout on the live account. Like I ultimately blew that account, and like not purposefully, right? Because like I wouldn't do that. That doesn't make any sense. It still had like that account started off with money I had already earned. But I ran into nothing but issues, like with the order processing, the platform, the fills, everything. And like a lot of my trades, you know, can be momentum based, like scalp based or whatever, right? Like, especially if we have a momentum push, I see the pullback, I want to get in right there, and I think we're just going to kind of make, you know, another pop up, which a lot of times happens, and I'll trade and scalp like that. I would see a lot of times where I would like even clicking market orders and would get like terrible fills, or I would have my order there on the screen. I would see price come down, come through my order, you know, sometimes oscillate up and down over my orders, and then just like lift, and I wouldn't be in it. And I'm like, well, how can I not be in this trade? The market has traded through my order, which was sitting there. Like I had a bid sitting there. I sent them some.
And you're not a big enough trader
No.
where it'd be a liquidity issue, you know? So it's like that could happen, you know, where there just simply wasn't enough orders to fill that. But in your situation, you're talking what at most maybe 3-5 cons, right?
Oh no, no,
probably less.
2. It was either 1 or 2 the whole time, because I didn't have that big of a balance. And the problem too is, and I would start the day off trading 1 mini because I was trading on Project X, right, on the Topstep X platform, and my accounts would have the no daily loss limit, right? So it'd only be a daily loss limit that I set. So when you go to a live account, I can't set the daily loss limit. They set the daily loss limit for you. And then in order to get that daily loss limit changed, whether you want it tightened or loosened, you have to call their risk team, which was incredibly difficult to actually get on the phone, right? So I called them when I encountered the first issue, when there was an issue where I was in a trade and I couldn't get out of the trade. Not only could I not scale, I could like literally spamming the flatten button while in profit didn't work. Had the recording of it. You can see me. I'm talking. I'm like, I'm trying to get out. I want to get out. I want to get out. Like I'm because it's like this is frozen and I'm just spamming it. Nothing.
Yeah.
Trade comes against me, goes through my stop, hits the daily loss limit. And I was just like, obviously throw my hands in there like, what the F, right? You know,
that's awful.
I would, and obviously, like, I think we've kind of touched on it, you know, a few times. I'm prone to tilt. Like there's a trigger. Like that was something that would set me off, right? So pissed off. I call the risk team. They don't answer. I leave a voicemail. Nothing. I call back like an hour later. Nothing. So then I finally get somebody on the phone the next day. This guy actually has the nerve to tell me, well, if you're ever having issues with the platform, you should immediately call the risk team. Bro, you do realize you are returning my call some 27 hours later after my initial call. Like the trade in question was 27 hours ago. If I would have just let this trade be, and let's just assume that the NASDAQ didn't even move that much, which would have been odd, I would have then caused an issue and then, of course, blown the account or violated your rules, into which you would shut my account because it's now past 5 p.m. because I can't get out of this trade. And their rule is you can't carry, right? So that was like a very silly thing. It was like, oh, really? Well, okay. Like, kind of like to say like, oh, well, we'll work on that, but didn't want to actually like admit anything. It was a very stupid conversation. So then,
so it sounds like a situation where it's somebody that's just kind of a copy paste type of response, not actually reading the ticket to actually address your concern. They're just trying to like get it over with.
Exactly, and that's what I felt like I got the whole time I talked to him on the phone. So then I showed him the example where the only reason I got stopped out of the trade was because it hit the max loss. And so what they did was they credited me back, like on the account, a portion of that, which was completely asinine because it was like, dude, this trade was in profit and I'm not telling you to credit my account to be in profit. But when I'm in profit and you can see on the screen, I am trying to click and drag my stop up, right? And it's not working. Then I recreated that with him live, okay, where I went to micros and I did the exact same thing. And I said, even on micros, I can't do this. I'm filming this for you right now. And so on the video, you can hear him on speakerphone and me talking, and it wasn't working. So it was a terrible experience being on their live platform. And I was just like, hey, you know what? And then actually, let's make matters worse. One other thing that's worse. If I wanted to trade my XFAs, which by the way, worked just fine at the same time. So it wasn't a connectivity issue. If I wanted to trade XFAs, I had to log out, then log back in, and then click Express Funded, because we would have two buttons on the screen, Express Funded or Live. So I'd have to like log out to log back in to get into Express Funded to trade those. And I literally was just like, okay, I'm having an issue on live, log out, log in Express Funded, micros, boom, I'm in a trade, adjusting stops, they're taking profit, whatever, like even just like scale in, scale out, buy one, sell one. It's all working lightning fast like it always was. So that of course made me like really concerned, like what the F is this? So then, long story short, obviously, the account blows, and I'm just like, hey, whatever. I didn't even want to trade this damn thing anymore because I'm going to have nothing but problems. Continue to trade XFAs, continue to run the Topstep game that they've set up. Now, Topstep advertises one rule, right? They advertise, oh, we're the one rule prop firm. It's still on their website. It's there. They're not one rule. Like their terms and conditions is like 20-something sections long, and it's not one rule. And look at the environment. Then Topstep put in the capped payouts thing, right? Of only $5,000 per payout, regardless of account size, which didn't make any sense. That doesn't make any sense. It doesn't make any sense, right? But it's like, okay. So now Topstep creates this environment, and then they also say, when you get to 5 payouts, you're going to go live. So really what they've created this payout, and then also when you go live, you can't have any XFAs anymore. You can only have one live funded. So if I have 5 XFA accounts and I'm consistently, withdrawing profits off those 5 XFA accounts, even if I blow one or blow two, make a new one, run it up, take half profits and keep kind of running that same cycle, all within the rules, because there's nothing that explicitly says I can't do that. That's what the XFAs are for. So you know what I was doing. Like why would I want to do that Or why would I want to leave that and then go to one live account where you've pooled all my funds together? I'd also like to add that when they first had me sign up for the live account, it took like 10, 11 trading days in order to go from like, hey, we're moving you to live to, hey, you can actually trade the live. Like it was
which also doesn't make any sense because you and I both have cash accounts. It doesn't take more than 24 hours to get things going.
It doesn't. It absolutely doesn't.
It's a matter of your funds clearing.
Yeah, it's
and so like you're saying, you've been trading the system per their rules.
Mhm.
You've had the maximum of 5 accounts, and so when you're almost getting penalized basically for getting pushed to live because now you've been used to trading that way.
Yep.
Getting let's just say you only traded 1 con per account. You were trading 5 contracts
Right.
essentially
with risk spread out.
and now you're forced to trade just 1.
Right.
So, like, what's the benefit for you to go live? There is none really.
There is none. And then also, here's the thing too with being on live. If you run it up, and let's just say you're up 20K for the day, the risk team will contact you and they'll tell you your new stop loss on the day is now 10K. So you cannot lose more than half of the profits you've made for the day. Like, bro.
Oh, so live trailing drawdown? Hello? What?
Yes, live trailing drawdown
Mr.
on a
One
live.
Rule? Hello?
Exactly. So it's like, wait a second, bro. Is this my money or is it not? Like, I know you're gonna keep your 10% of it, and that's the deal. But like, it's my trades, and so if I see another trade that fits my criteria, and I go off after it with max size, and I lose 11K on it, like, and I decide, okay, I'm gonna call it for the day. I'm gonna walk away with my 9K. Like, you're telling me, no, I can't do that. You lock me out. Or what happens if the trade just happens to hit the minus 10K, which would be, of course, a very unfortunate trade, but then decides to, it rolls back over, and it would have been a big winner, and now you've tagged me out. Like, you're basically, they're just meddling. They're meddling with you as a trader. They are manipulating what you're going to do in your decision making process, which is not conducive to good trading. So you can't say, oh, we want to foster an environment with good traders and then have that. Like, and then they shit on people who the entire time, and I've seen this in posts, the entire time this person will trade max size on a 150K. That's been their system the entire time because you allow it. Okay. So if you allow me to trade max size and I choose to trade max size and I accept that risk, then back off. But somebody trades max size, they put in that new daily loss limit, and what do you think happens? Boom, first day on max size, they hit their daily loss limit because probably they weren't thinking, oh crap, I only have this much actual wiggle room to work on this trade. I probably should size down half size, quarter size until I make some profits to have a bigger buffer there. Whatever. But then they're like literally on their Topstep Live shitting on this trader for terrible risk control. This is on their Topstep Live TV. And yet, if you look at the house account is almost always red. And so, like,
I don't watch it often, but every time I've seen the house feed, it's always been a huge loss.
Always been. They're in losses. But you know what they're doing? They're losing money responsibly by only trading 1 to 2 cons max. Like, you know what? At the rate that they're consistently losing, and you guys can go back and watch their live streams and see this, your best bet if you want to make money on Topstep and be, oh, I'm responsible, just take the opposite side of their trade. Like, it's not financial advice. You know what I'm saying? But like, literally, if you knew somebody lost so consistently, why wouldn't you fade them?
Right.
Why wouldn't you just keep it up in the top corner of your screen and say, oh, Topstep just went short. What's the long play here? Let me go look for the long, because like they almost always lost. And it's like every time I don't see them ever catching big winning trades. How many times, guys, like go out there and look at their feeds. They'll post about traders or what the other people are doing or the money that people are making. They're not saying, oh, Coach Johnny or whatever their coach's names are. Coach Johnny caught this 200 point on the move on the NASDAQ today. Like, he's an awesome trader. Like, no, they're never talking about house account wins.
Yeah, and Joe, we gave Apex a lot of crap last year.
We did.
And a lot of it was rhythmic and payout related.
Yeah.
But now it's like everything that we were crapping on Apex about is applicable to Topstep.
Yeah.
Bad data feeds, the payout issues, and banning people. You're not the only person that's been banned. We know other people have been banned as well.
Yep. There's another trader who got banned because he was like an issue with his wife's name, and then they try to say, well, husband and wife can't trade on the Topstep platform. There is literally an interview with a married couple, and they're both trading.
Right.
Like,
So you guys need to double check your own rules, guys.
for real. For real.
Yeah.
And I mean, the thing with, that's the issues with Apex is what partially led me to this push to like, okay, well, I'll go trade Topstep. And then I go back to trading Apex after this ban. And I've gotten 2 payouts, within the rules, and it's not a big deal. Right. So it's like, well,
Yeah.
it's not as quick. But let me just like quickly before I go through these emails, just put out there one other really important fact, or just one other important thing to consider is if you knew that you had ran up your account balance and you ran it up and you had a good, let's just say you had a good first 3 days and you're up 9K, whatever number.
Yeah.
And you're well clear of the trailing drawdown on a 50K. I'm using 50Ks in my head. Even you're up 4K. And so if you were to take half, that leave you with 2K, it's like starting with a brand new account. Whether you've done that in 3 days or 4 days, on the remaining days before you are ready to withdraw for a payout, is it not in your best interest to trade and target only $200 in profit, lock the account, and secure a payout?
Yeah, absolutely.
Absolutely. But
why would you force extra risk upon yourself and then potentially lose that money and be ineligible for the payout?
Exactly.
Yeah.
So that was 100% my thought process every time I approached the market. Every day I would be looking at how many days do I have on this account? Where am I at profit-wise? And logically, what should I do? Because I'm not risking, when I approach the market that day, I'm looking at it as, what am I risking for the money I've already made? Because I know I can only take half of that on day 5.
Yeah.
Logically, if I'm up, let's just say I'm up $9,500 or $9,600, and it's day 3, day 4, and day 5, and all you need is 10 NASDAQ points or whatever, depending on how many micros you want to trade, whatever. All you need is the $200. Because if you would go $200, now what am I going to do? I'm going to withdraw a 5K max payout. They're going to take their 10%. I'm going to make $4,500. I'm going to leave my account balance at 5K. Now,
and surely you're not the only person doing this, and I know you are because
people
many
post
people
about
talk about it, and it's not just Topstep; they do it on other platforms too. It's like, why wouldn't you?
Why wouldn't you? Your sole objective as a trader, especially working with these funding companies, they're not prop firm companies. It's not a real prop firm. I know people who work for and actually trade prop. They get offended when we call them prop, or that they call themselves prop. It's a funding company, but whatever you want to call it. Your sole objective is to farm the capital. Like, your sole objective is to use the small amount of risk that you paid via the trial and the funded fee. You take that small risk and you try to multiply that in a huge way and make that payout. Now, most traders fail. The CEO of the Topstep said it himself, only 12% of all traders got payouts. Okay?
Yeah.
So that means he said he used the number 25,000 people got payouts, at least one payout. That means 175,000 traders did not receive a payout. And now, like, rewind. What group did I tell you I was in? Why would you not want Joe to be on your platform? Because he's a big earner. Exactly. He's a big earner who's not on live, and so you're paying him. They're paying me with casino money because they're the casino taking money from the 175K, and they're dishing it out to people like me who are in the 25K who are getting payouts. But Joe's not actually on live. So
yeah.
So then, really quickly, here's like what happened. Here's the emails, right? So this is to Joe. I just blocked out my last name. Okay. This is from Melissa at Topstep. Following a comprehensive review of your account, we've identified a violation of terms of use under Section 21 termination. So I'm going to jump down to Section 21 termination. It just says users may terminate receipt of any free publications at any service, blah, blah, blah. You can read the whole thing. You can just go to their website. Here's the part. Such termination may result from a violation of the terms or other referenced agreements, unauthorized use or reproduction of any publication or information, or any or no reason at all determined in Topstep's sole discretion. Okay?
Yeah.
There was a lot of email back and forth with them. It was like brutally painful that they would just essentially, hey, we already answered your question. Hey, go back to the previous email. And it would literally be emails, like this one. Right. The next one I have from them, another one from Melissa, they're talking about sections 3, 8, and 16, which are all pretty long. I won't bother reading for you. Section 3 in X, this one talks about like resets, and it literally says in excess of 3 resets in a 24-hour period, or having multiple trading combines. So like if you can have a maximum of 5 accounts,
Yeah.
wouldn't you have up to 5 combines?
Yeah, and up to 5 resets.
And if I blew them all, copy trading them in a day, I'd have 5 resets. So like, and if I went after it again and did it again, I could have 10 resets. It's not like running game here. It could just literally happen. You know, I mean, people tilt,
Right.
people try to trade, like people, whatever, right? It's 2 days to pass. So like, it's the market's open today. It's in my interest, you know, if I'm accepting the price of the fees, to try to pass day one or try to get to $1,500 if the goal is $3,000, right?
Yeah, surely people are doing this daily.
Oh,
and so it's only a problem because you're getting paid, and now they're suddenly unsure about you as a investment, perhaps.
Exactly, dude. So like anybody who's running through these, and we know you all know, like watching this, what you've done or other people have done. If you've been running more than 3 excess of 3, so 4 or more resets in a day, shit, it happens. It happens.
Yeah.
On the day that I received notification of the ban, like I bought like 4 or 5 resets or combines or whatever. Like I don't think it had anything to do with that. I think it was something that's already in the works. But like, yeah, I did it. I mean, I was trying to pass. I blew an account. I was trying to like, you know, get a couple cooked up, blew those ones, and then got the other ones past day one. I was like, okay, they're locked out, $1,500. Shit happens.
Yeah.
That's part of the game, and the way I look at it is like it's an expense that's part of me trading prop, right? Like I'm gonna blow evaluation accounts or funded accounts. It's gonna happen from time to time.
Yeah.
Like,
of course.
So then, you know, again, I get this email about sections 3, 8, and 16. It is effective. So this is it is effective indefinitely, right? So it means any trading combines and funded level accounts will be closed, and you are no longer eligible to trade a funded account, which of course is absolutely silly because even now I can still trade the funded account, but it just doesn't do anything. It's not going to add up to anything. They're obviously not going to do the payout, right? And there's another email here. At this time, our decision is final. We do not divulge further in our decision making. This happened. This type of email came out like a bunch of times. Thank you, Miles, for absolutely nothing. This was like I sent them a screenshot and was like, "Hey," and I had to keep opening tickets, so that's why it says like image, and I just like blocked out the rest of the details there. So this is section 3. This again, user section. Topstep reserves the right to determine at its own discretion whether certain trades, practices, strategies, or situations are prohibited conduct. Sorry, conduct, not contact. So this is basically saying the same thing. Like if you start changing your trading strategy or you start doing different things, they can determine that it's prohibited conduct and ban you. Like, what do you care? Like, wait a second. How do you know this? Like, what if I don't see an A+ setup, but I'm like, man, I really want to just try to like clock the winning day, and it's day 2. I could have run up on day 1. It's day 2, and I'm like, man, I really don't see a setup. I'm pressed for time. I'm going to just go with one con here on NQ and target 10 points. I feel like we're going to get at least a 20-point move right here. I'll lock up at $200 and lock up the day. It's happened. Have I done it? Yes, 100%. 100% I've done that.
And also, suppose you have statistics where like you perform great on Mondays, Tuesdays, Fridays.
Yeah.
And then other days it's like they're not strong days for you, but you see a scalp setup just like you're describing.
Yeah.
And it's like, okay, I'm not going to go full risk on that day because I know it's not great. But like, so now suddenly I have to explain my trading thesis to you.
Yeah.
And I can't have multiple strategies. I can't have multiple setups or quality setups.
Yeah. And doesn't the platform tell you which days you perform best at? In the statistics thing? So it's like,
yeah.
And there was never any questions. There was just all, hey, you're doing something wrong. We're banning you. Right. In attempts to explain myself or asks for specifics or situations or whatever, there was no specifics provided to me, right? Then any information when refuted or argued or questioned was always met with the decision is final. So it's like, what decision did you really make here? Because you're not divulging what's going on. right? I'm the
Yeah,
only
right.
one trading. I'm the only one trading my account. Like, because there's there's a whole bunch of language in this user section 8. I'm the only one trading
Yeah.
my account, right?
Yeah, we talked about this on a previous episode about the multi-user trading potentiality
Yeah,
of somebody else. So we've talked about that, and we know how vague the terms are,
right.
and so that's why it's even more awful to suggest that they are capable of self-regulating.
Yeah, exactly. So incredibly frustrating situation. Feel like it's BS. I feel like
Hmm.
they're just, they've probably grown exponentially. Excuse me,
Yeah.
as the prop space, the funded space has grown. But it doesn't mean that they should just they're gonna start doing this. But I guess it doesn't mean they should start doing this. However, I understand it. It's no different than being in the casino. If you are running it up in the casino and you're on a no limit table or a high limit table and you are just running it up,
Yeah.
and they just, whether they don't like it, they have a suspicion, you're too good, whatever. You hear about
Hmm.
the stories all the time where they tap you on the shoulder and say, "Hey, you gotta go."
Yeah, and then they ban you from the casino.
And they ban you from the casino. Like there's plenty of professional gamblers who say, "Oh, I'm banned from Caesars, I can't go there," or "I'm banned from the Luxor, I can't go there," or whatever it is in Vegas. Like shit
Yeah.
happens. And so here I am, first casino ban.
Yeah, that's too bad. When you first told me about it, and we were looking at the terms of service together and stuff, it just none of it made sense. And then you posted on X somewhat recently. Uh, we were trying to advocate for you
Mm-hmm.
to try to reach out to somebody. Hey, why am I banned? Let's reach out to somebody. And then you ended up deleting your post.
Yep.
And
Yep.
then they said, why are you posting your account on social media? Or no, why does somebody else have your account
Yep.
information on social media? As
Yep.
if you had given them your account information. It's like, bro,
It was a
are you
P&L
fucking
screenshot.
stupid?
It was a P&L screenshot. So they questioned, I got questioned and I heard questions about a P&L screenshot. Like,
Yeah.
because people had, well, I guess I just should call it resharing now. It's no retweeting. It's not Twitter anymore. But like, what? Like, dude, there was a screenshot with no personal information of just a P&L. Like, what kind of dumbass question is that?
And
Really?
also, have they forgotten that their very platform has a public sharing
Share
link
feature.
for the combine?
Yes.
Yeah,
Yes.
so if you guys go into your performance settings in Topstep, there's a little toggle you can share. Give somebody a link. It'll show them all of your stats for as long as that account's been open, whether it's a combine or XFA or whatever.
Yep.
You can see the calendar, the
Yep.
P&L for the day. You can see their performance, winner loss ratio, all that stuff, whatever. Every single trade that they've done on that account.
Yeah, you don't have to.
How's that any different?
You don't have to hit the screenshot button. You can literally just click share, and you can share the whole link, and then that link will just literally you can scroll down and see everything like you're on the Topstep X platform. I mean, that's a cool feature, I guess, in a way, if you're somebody who just wants to share all your stats like that. But I'm sure most traders don't use that or won't use that. But whatever, it's built into the platform. So what's a screenshot of like the
the dashboard
cut out like with this the P&L.
Hey, wouldn't you have the technology within your platform to say, hey, who's logging into Joe's account? Oh, it's always the same IP address from Maryland.
Right.
Or Maine, sorry.
Yeah, Maine. I don't know why I said Maryland, but I was just gonna roll with it. But yeah, exactly.
But, yeah, so it's like they're just not able to come up with a real answer, and they just don't want to be exposed, and so that's why they're just saying, hey, why are you doing this?
Nope. And I don't think,
and that sucks.
Yeah, and it was actually in one of the emails, or a couple of the emails that I showed here, the first two, the screenshots that I showed. As a result, your payouts have been denied, right? So like, last payouts requested were denied. The accounts that I signed up for on Thursday, they denied refunds, right? Like everything is just like, and like it is what it is. Like, you know what? At the end of the day, I'm green on it, right? Like I look at it, hey, you guys had a program. I ran your program. You didn't like I was running your program. Now you're switching the rules and you're leaning on the fine print. Whatever. Whatever, right? Like, it is what it is. So if there's any takeaway that I would offer for the listeners is don't become dependent upon this. Like at any moment, a snap of their fingers, they're out, or a snap of a regulator's fingers, they're out. Like, so if you're out here farming capital, leveraging prop, great. Leverage it, right? Use it to your advantage, but don't become reliant upon it. And then, the other question I still get a lot too is because obviously there are people who know about the Topstep ban, but there's also people who just, well, even they don't know. They ask a lot about, are you trading live? And are you trading your, like, okay, two things with trading live, bro. Trading live, like becoming a live funded trader is not this like, amazing, you've arrived, you're a fantastic person type thing. Bro,
Yeah.
put $2,000 into a Ninja Trader account. Boom, you're a live funded trader. Like, go trade the
Exactly.
micros. You can trade the micros and have, reasonable amount of risk. Take 4 or 5 micros at a time, and you could be a live funded trader off that. Like,
Yeah.
that's the first thing. But like, secondly, if you are trading live and you're good at trading live, like, why wouldn't you also then say, hey, well, let me, utilize a funding company and leverage that. So
Hmm.
instead of having to have like all this my own money at stake on every trade, I can pay a small fee and have access to all this leverage. And then if my trades are consistently working out, whatever the rules are, if it's Apex every 8 days, if it's Topstep every 5 days or whatever, I'll pay myself out of that too.
Yeah. Of
Why
course.
why would you not do both, right? So
Yeah, but I understand there is a certain prestige that people attach to being live with whichever company it may be.
yeah, sure, sure. But you're gonna have the ability to make far more money with far less risk by you also utilizing these funds for sure. These funding companies.
Hmm. Yeah,
That's
absolutely.
and
Yeah,
that's
no doubt
really
about it.
that's what it's got to be all about, right? We've got to manage the risk reward.
Yep. Yeah. So guys, like, uh, why don't you sign up for a couple, like, spread the risk if you're on Top Step and you're having success, keep that going, but maybe test the waters with some other companies too. Take
Yeah,
Profit Trader, My Funded Futures, etc.
yeah. My funded futures is great, dude. Their response time is super quick.
Hmm.
Their payout time is faster than Topstep ever was. Also, what's up with Topstep now taking a $20 fee for ACH transfers?
Yeah, usually ACH is free. Well, I mean, it's not free, but like for the most part, they prefer you to use ACH, and then they offer you as the no fee option. In if you're dealing with like commerce and stuff, that's usually how it goes
Yeah.
because they that's the least fees for them. It's the least hassle for them versus like using a credit card or whatever.
Yep.
So yeah, that's BS.
Yeah, it's total
And now they're
BS.
starting to nickel and dime us.
Yep. Yeah, literally. They're just nickeling and diming you, right?
Hmm.
Oh, damn, bro. What an experience. But my funded futures is great. Their payouts no ACH fee.
Hmm.
I got one payout in minutes, like maybe like an hour 10 tops. I can't remember. It was obviously it was pretty quick, maybe 45 minutes. And then I
Yeah,
got the other one within like a few hours. It was good though. I mean, like it's
yeah, that's fantastic. Like anything under 24 hours is great, and that's how it should be, really.
yeah, yeah, because you don't want to be sitting there waiting like, well, is this money actually ever gonna come? Like, and I
Yep.
get it for most people trading. Like there are a lot of traders out there who are, you're on your first express funded account or maybe your second or your third, and like one payout would put you back to break even or green. And it's
Hmm.
stressful, right? Like I get it. It's stressful.
Yeah.
You feel like you have a lot riding on it. I mean, you really don't. It'll be okay. Take your time.
Hmm.
But like once you finally like submit for that payout and you're like, oh my God, I'm gonna be a green trader, right? Or I'm gonna get my first 5K payout or whatever it is, like it feels
Hmm.
like a milestone thing. That it dude, it's literally like the only time time ever moves slower would be like if you were doing a plank, right? Like there are very few things in life that will slow down time. Doing a plank is one of them. Suddenly you realize every second is an eternity. If you make it past a minute, from a minute to a minute 10, you age 10 years. Like
For
planks
me, it'd be wall squats, but
yeah.
yeah,
Yeah,
I know what you mean.
wall squats are another one, dude. Timed wall squats. Holy shit, time that just the universe slows down,
Yeah,
you know.
for sure.
But it's like that when you're waiting for that payout too. When you're like, is it coming?
Hmm.
Is it coming? Didn't you have an issue, dude, where you like waited like 2 weeks?
I did, yeah. It was 10 plus days, and I messaged about it. And of course, this is on the original dashboard, so there's no actual status about the payout really.
Yeah.
And the problem was, some technical issue. I literally chose ACH on the back end, but somehow somehow they thought I wanted it to go to Wise,
Mm-hmm.
and they're like, "Oh, it came back from Wise," but I never saw it go into Wise in the first place.
Yep.
And then I'm like, "Yeah, but guys, I chose ACH." Like, you know, so and they're like, "Oh yeah, sorry." And so I mean, once they discovered that, like I got it in like 24 hours, but like
Mm-hmm.
that was also pretty frustrating too.
Yeah. No.
And I definitely, even though like the funds that come out of the account, like I was actually extra cautious to trade that account because I was still so unsure. So I would just shifted gears to switch to a different account, which was fine.
Yeah.
But not everybody has another account, or maybe they don't want to trade multiple accounts at a time.
Yeah. Or maybe they don't want to pay to open up a new account until they're sure that they got the funds from the first one. I mean, there's a lot of variables, right? Like,
Yeah,
I don't know. It's unfortunate. I did thoroughly enjoy trading on Topstep. You know, I liked the Topstep X platform. I've enjoyed the lockout feature. You know, I didn't particularly like that there's no like brackets. Like, how come I can't set a bracket with multiple targets, right?
right. Yeah,
I also didn't like the fact that like the way they count trades. So, you know, if I take a trade and I enter in with 2 cons, and then I scale one out and then I scale the second one out, it counts as 3 trades, right? Because it's like 1 entry and 2 exits, I think is how
yeah,
they run it.
that's bizarre.
Yeah, it's like, how is that 3 trades? Or maybe they count that as 2 trades because it's 1 entry and then 1 exit would be the first trade, and then like there's a second. I can't remember. It's stupid. I thought it was stupid
Yeah,
because it's like, this is 1 trade, right? Like, I had 1
yeah.
entry,
I mean,
multiple exits.
I can understand like I can understand at least counting it as 4 trades because 2 wins, 2 outs. But anything other than that um, could
Yeah,
be confusing.
yeah, it was definitely very confusing. Um,
Yeah.
the lockout
Well,
feature is
man, it
nice.
sucks. I hated to hear when you first told me about that. Because you had those payouts ready to go, and you walked away from that. And at this point, you've certainly made your peace with it. But for anybody else, um, I mean, it's hard to walk away from the money. That money should be yours,
Yeah,
and it's still hard. It's still hard to walk away from that. But I'm glad that you're still finding success everywhere else you go, and nothing's gonna stop you, man.
yeah. But myself.
From time to time, one day at a time.
One day at a time. Yeah, man. Well,
Yeah.
yeah, that's good. Well, let's wrap it up there.
Yeah, if anybody else has been banned, let us know in the comments from whatever platform. We'd love to hear your story too, if it's something that's happened. But otherwise, we'll catch y'all in the next one.
Hell yeah. Thanks, Robbie.
Later, bro.
See you guys.